Welcome to Slow News Day. I'm Steve Poikinen.
And I'm Sarah Hall.
We are here highlighting artists, activists, organizers, and general agitators who are pushing back against late-stage capitalism here in the heart of the empire. Joining us this afternoon is our new good buddy, Ben Feser, who co-hosts the Breaking Basic podcast, which if you're not listening to that or watching it, you damn well should be. The amount of information that these guys are putting out is just an incredible resource. So hop on that when you're done listening to Slow News Day and give them some love and a like and a subscribe and tell your friends about it. Guys, welcome back to the show, Ben Feser.
Thanks, Steve. How you guys doing?
Man, we're doing all right. It's a dreary day here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I don't know what it looks like up your way, but we got
Same? The exact same.
we
definitely the nasty season right now.
yeah. There's enough areas around Paradise to where mudslides are gonna be a real fucking concern this year. It happens to us. We're just now getting some roads open, and we still have some that are one lane that got shut down from 2 winters ago.
Ugh. Yeah, Redding's gonna get hammered this year too. You can believe that.
Two. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. No, so I wanted to have you on today because there's a ton of misinformation and innuendo presented as fact surrounding the editor of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. And you're an independent media. We're an independent media. I've had my earlier writing career completely erased from the internet because a few people higher up at The Nation magazine did not like what I had to say or who I was saying it about. I've had, my political writing shadow banned to hell and gone, particularly when I was reporting on Standing Rock. There's a concerted effort to discredit the real and genuine work you do with modern alchemy. And surrounding all of this, we have this character, this guy who looks like a Bond villain. Is like Julian Assange looks like he should be in a white linen suit at all times petting a fucking cat, and like there's just
Elon Musk like in space.
Yeah, absolutely. What I kind of want to know where you're at on this whole thing, like what you know about the situation. And then based off of that, we can kind of jump in here and there and go on tangents. But the thing that I really want to drive home is that how anyone feels about Julian Assange as a person, as a human being, is 100% irrelevant to the fact that if he is prosecuted, it sets the legal precedent that the government can convict, imprison any publisher of any outlet anywhere in the world if they print information that the government does not want to be printed.
Even without proving that it was wrong or a government secret that they had somehow unearthed.
Not only that, but as the publisher, not even as the person who was the person who gained the information in the first place. WikiLeaks does not hack other people's. They didn't hack Podesta's computer. They didn't hack the DNC. I believe that Seth Rich is the person who downloaded that information. Whether or not he was the actual person
highly likely.
Whether or not he was the actual person who did, that information was downloaded onto a flash drive. William Benny and John Carricow, both people who would know, they're members of veteran intelligence professionals for Sanity, VIPs. We're talking about the rate at which that information was downloaded, and that you, even our CIA and the NSA, and these are the guys that wrote code for them, even they can't third party or via via Wi-Fi download information at the speed that they did it. So that particular
the signal won't even carry that fast. We don't have 5G yet.
And yeah, I guess what I want to know is, like, what do you know about WikiLeaks in general, about Julian Assange in general? What's the depth of your knowledge on that one?
Well, here's the one interesting, overwhelming fact, is that they have never ever been proven wrong.
Exactly.
Ever one time.
Yeah.
So and Lord knows that since from the Bush administration on up, they have been attacked by every single administration. Right. Every single one. And every administration switch, I've watched them go with how Julian Assange is the enemy of freedom, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's ever proven that he's a liar. And then the things that they try and promote to him are just baseless. The guy, they've thrown at him that he was a child molester. Because of that, he's had to hide in asylum for years. That's a dead moot issue at this point. The backup prosecutor, that said there was never anything to it in the first place. The guy spent all these years in there, and now everybody's even forgotten that. Now everybody just thinks he's just an enemy of the state, and that's why he's been in asylum and everything. They made up so many things about this guy over the years, and what people don't understand is that nobody when he was going against the Bush administration, and the Bush administration was taking us to war with Iraq and making up things and whatnot, and he was releasing information. The other side, the liberal side, while they paid him lip service, saying, "Oh, yay, look, he did a good thing," nobody actually said, "We need to protect him. We need to not let the administration attack him and do these things. We need to protect journalists and whistleblowers." Nobody ever said that. Nobody tried to help. The Obama administration comes in. Obama prosecuted more whistleblowers than any administration ever.
All previous presidents combined, he prosecuted more journalists and whistleblowers under the Espionage Act than all previous presidents combined. That is a
Mr. Transparent. Transparency, right?
That's right.
He was very transparent as far as I was concerned. He was definitely letting us all know that the truth is nothing we deserve.
So they
no
looked
matter
in
which administration it is, they all hate him. They pretend like they like him when he does something that helps their side a little bit. Like, oh yeah, he's great, look at that good thing, but nobody actually likes him in our government in any way, shape, or form. He's unhealthy for every active member in our government, basically, because he tells the truth, and they do not.
Well, and it's more extensive in the fact that our media has nothing but lies on top of smears on top of innuendo to say about the guy. There's nobody even in or at least in corporate media who is standing up and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, when the Obama administration was looking into prosecuting Assange for the Chelsea Manning release,
Yeah.
uh, they looked into it, and it came out that they decided not to prosecute him under the Espionage Act, which is something that they technically can do through a wonderful term of legalese called extraterritorial jurisdiction, which we'll get back to in a minute. They could have gone ahead and prosecuted him, and obviously now that we know that they're sealed indictments, it's something that has been on the table for at least 6 years. But they chose not to because it created something that they called...
Pause 1 second.
This term sealed indictment, like, that is something I've heard thrown around so much in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what world they live in, but when people get indicted where I'm from, cops come to your house and arrest you.
Absolutely.
Like,
there's nothing, yeah, they don't communicate with your lawyers first or through your
right.
your PR people, or where I was headed with that, I think.
I'm sorry, it's just the sealed indictment thing. Like, it amazes me. It's the weirdest thing. Like, it, as far as I can tell, every single person in Washington D.C. has a sealed indictment against them.
I'm sure
and
they
nobody
do.
gets arrested. Like it's like, are they all like, I'll use our indictments if you use your indictments?
Right.
You
No,
know, like,
there could be some mutually assured destruction going on there. That's going to become a part of our next show. In terms of like why Nancy Pelosi is again Speaker of the House, but that's irrelevant to what we're talking about right now. Where I was headed with that though is that when Obama's administration was looking into prosecuting Assange, they discovered that they had this thing that they called the New York Times problem. And that problem is if they go after Assange for being a publisher, even though they can under the Espionage Act, it would have been so politically damaging to them because there is a valid argument to be made that they could have and should have equally gone after the New York Times for releasing Snowden's information.
right.
Which was far more damaging to the government as an entity than, we do some war crimes in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and everywhere else that we've ever been and dropped bombs. Like, that seems to be something more, that Americans are more willing to block out than, holy fuck, they're in my house all the time.
Well, and I think everybody called Assange controlled opposition. If anybody was a controlled op, in my opinion, it'd be Snowden. Not because what Snowden said wasn't true. I think Snowden released just enough and released it enough in that they were just letting it to the public, like, hey, we do the internet because it's pretty an under the table thing, and if it came out from like WikiLeaks or something like that, they couldn't control the narrative, So Snowden, if you ask, look at what happened. Everything Snowden scattered, not one lick, not one bit. They're like, yeah, we do that. And we're gonna too.
And I don't understand why. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, even though I know why it works so well, that we don't have a citizenry that just takes to the fucking street like they've been doing in France when this shit happened. France is rioting over a fucking gas tax right now.
Oh my god, is that amazing?
It's great.
Is that amazing? Is the level of it, boy, it's just so hard to explain, isn't it?
So they had, on the same day, throughout the entire country of France, which is slightly smaller than Texas. 2,000 coordinated protests. Can you imagine 2,000 coordinated protests in the U.S.? Like, the kind of statement you could make if you went ahead and said, okay, yeah, we'll let first responders through if you're in a fucking ambulance or a fire truck, but other than that, we're taking this bridge. We're taking that bridge.
So, you know what would happen, right? The thing that people in this country don't realize
is it's funny, all those years that they made fun of like North Korea, saying they only have like 2 stations and it's all ran by Kim Jong Un and all this, and it was ran by Kim Jong Il before that. We're like that.
Yeah. Oh no.
We just have 100 stations instead of 2, but it still boils down to one. There's 2 coins, like you said at the beginning of this when you were introducing us. Any in-between person, they cut out. If you're not on that nonsense polarized end, they cut you out. Even the Facebook purges recently, it wasn't the radical right nor the radical left that they attacked. It was the libertarians, the voluntarists, things like that that were saying things that actually made logical sense. They don't want anybody that makes logic talking.
I agree with that. I mean, and when you mentioned that we have 100 channels, we have 6 companies that own all of those channels.
Right.
And
Right.
if North Korea has 1 state television station and 1 other access channel, like, they're only doing 60% worse than we are.
Right.
You know?
And when they say 6, it's just the same as with all these other companies. These companies are all colluded now. Like, the first one that was well known for this was the light bulb for planned obsolescence, where before this they were making the Edison bulb. And the Edison bulb, there's Edison bulbs out in old barns that still function from hundreds of years ago. Just ridiculous. So these light bulb companies got together and made a pact that you couldn't make a light bulb that lasted over, I can't remember how many thousand hours. But
Right.
There was a very limited time to it now, and nobody was allowed to produce anything else, or else they would get sued and blackballed and taken down by the other companies. So to think that there is any real competition, like one of these companies is going to come out and step out of line and say something that the other ones are not in line with, you're allowed to either be Fox News or you're allowed to be MSNBC, CNN, blah, blah, blah. You're not allowed to be in between those 2 things.
Right. Well, you saw how they did Al Jazeera and RT, and you can say whatever you want to about those networks, but to have American citizens who comment on American issues, have to be treated like they're foreign agents, or having their outlets themselves register as foreign agents when all they're doing is fucking bringing news from...
like Lee Camp is working with Russia, right?
Right? No, I mean, when we were hanging out with Lee, did you get the sense that he was a spy? Did you?
He didn't
No.
Svidanya,
He,
on the way out.
No,
Comrade a couple
not
times.
at all.
he didn't offer us a single bottle of vodka.
That
he-
kid has his shit
He
together.
didn't give us 1 boiled beet. I mean, in terms of...
Vegas? Stood in line for 3 days for this.
I definitely recommend, if you get a chance, to go see that guy stand up. It's cool to be in a room with people who, most of whom are receptive to the jokes. The thing that kind of was the funniest to me is that, like, the Santa Cruz audience cracked up with extended laughter over the darkest shit that came out of his mouth. But, like, the standard fucking political jokes were like, ha! And that was it. And he was like, oh, you want more fucking dead baby jokes, huh? And we're like, yeah, but bring on the fucking dead baby jokes. We're
Yeah, standard politics, like, war and drop bombs on foreign countries, things like that, mass slaughters of peoples, genocides. That's boring. We've been seeing that for decades. It's old. We need something more hip, like the Molochian Hillary Clinton, wing of things.
Right. The Molochian Hillary Clinton wing of things. That is beautiful. By the way, I'm pulling up WikiLeaks Twitter right meow because I want to read something. I don't know if you saw this or not. An article came out in The Guardian yesterday that claimed that
he's a Russian?
That claimed that Paul Manafort, on multiple occasions, but while he was becoming Trump's campaign manager, met with Julian Assange. Right. They, in the matter of, WikiLeaks is now suing The Guardian over this story. In the matter of about an hour, man, after the story hits The Guardian, and it's written by Luke Harding, who wrote the book Collusion, which was roundly dismissed, debunked, and laughed out of fucking existence because it was just such a desperate attempt to prove that, Russia, prove the Russiagate narrative. That's the guy who wrote that book, wrote this article purporting that Manafort and Assange had met. They stealth edited the thing over the next couple of hours, right? Where they don't notify their readers that changes had been made to the article. Right. They just make, which is something that I've done if I discovered a typo later.
Right, absolutely.
But they changed.
Or you forgot like a little detail or something stupid. Right?
Yeah, they changed.
But not trying to change the actual heart of the message.
They changed the entire tone of the narrative of the
I did
story.
not get that at all when you were telling me about that earlier.
So what they did is they changed like key sentences like Assange or Manafort. Why Manafort met with Assange, it remains unknown, was the sentence. And they changed that to why he may have met with Assange, remains unknown. They take the actual...
The first sentence, you definitively said they met.
Yes.
And you're like, so why could that be, definitely nefarious? The second one, you're like, hey, maybe they met, and if they did, what were they talking about?
Right.
Like, the second one sounds kind of ridiculous. The first one sounds nefarious.
Sounds like somebody got a call from a lawyer, like, within an hour of that going out.
So they also changed the number of sources. The original article says, according to 2 sources, Manafort returned to the embassy in 2015. He paid another visit in the spring of 2016, turning up alone.
Was Trump even planning on running in 2015?
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember that Manafort is a general fucking scumbag political operator, fucking bagman for a bunch of different countries to fucking go carry money from one place to another to get it fucking cleaned up. Like that's been his gig. So maybe he had information that he was trying to peddle to Assange if in fact that meeting took place. But here's the thing, dude.
He could have went there at that point in time, but it wouldn't fit in the tone of the Trump
administration because...
Well, Manafort wasn't connected to Trump in 2015, in the spring.
Right.
He wasn't. But the thing is, dude, Julian Assange has been locked in this embassy since 2012.
That took me by surprise this morning. I was telling somebody it's been like a year or so.
No.
I'm looking 6 years in the
6
towers
years. So, okay.
without
London,
a charge.
by its own admission, is the most heavily surveilled city in the world. There are more admitted closed-circuit cameras in London than anywhere, and the last number was somewhere around 6 billion.
What?
No, sorry, 6 million. 6 million. 6 million.
30 times a day on average, your face gets taken.
And sometimes up to 300
Wow.
if you're staying in a certain area.
Right.
You know? Julian Assange is, like I said, highly recognizable, looks like a fucking Bond villain. Paul Manafort looks like Joe Piscopo. Fucking, like, there's some overlap there. There really is. Don't you think that if the Guardian was serious about this meeting taking place and it wasn't just utter fucking fabrication, that they could have gone to any of those multiple security cameras, security systems, and said, let's see the tape of Manafort going into the embassy?
Well, here's a fact. When you say
Something shocking, the immediate impact is shock, which is and then when you fix it, it's like, oh, okay. You notice that, oh, okay, did not have near the tone that first shock tone did.
Right.
And so for whatever reason, even though there was no proof to it, it was fabricated. Like, I still today remember the Richard Gere gerbil up his butt story. Like, you know, and that was absolutely disproven and everything else. But every time you see Richard Gere, oh, gerbil up the butt pops into your head.
Right?
You
Right.
know?
I know, I never watched Pretty Woman the same.
Right. So they figured out that people are like that. If you shock them hard enough with something and then mildly retract it, they will remember the shocked thing. Even if they remember the retraction, it's like buried somewhere in there, and it takes them more to pull that out.
Huh.
And like Sarah was saying, even she just said she didn't remember how long Assange has been locked in the embassy. How many people even remember that the entire reason that he was in hiding in the first place was because the first thing that they threw at him was that he's a child molester, and tried to get him put into prison with that.
Right.
And all that got thrown out the window, and since then it's just been a roller coaster of other crap. They just keep coming after the guy with one thing after another. And so there's no legitimacy to any of it. And both sides do it. Both sides. That's what really should tell people that what this guy is doing is legitimate. If one side was the only one pushing a narrative, then fine. Then I'm okay. But when both sides are against you, it's the same concept as when both sides of the news agency say something's a good idea.
Right.
You should immediately go, oh shit.
Right.
This is so bad. Iraq, we're getting ready to invade Iraq. Oh no, everybody's saying it's a good plan. You know, it's this. If everybody's saying he is evil, unless the man is like in front of you actually doing evil things, I'm going to stop and question it completely. That's just out the gate without knowing anything.
I mean, it seems like a highly unreasonable philosophy in 2018 to just not leap to conclusion and fucking operate on clickbait. And I think that when like we sit around and we talk about this shit, that it's a dangerous conversation in the sense that what people like Julian Assange represent is legitimate journalism.
Right.
What-
The thing that ended when Ronald Reagan removed the Truth in Media Act, and then Bill Clinton made it so they could all become one company, basically.
Right.
And then Obama made it so they could just openly lie and not even pretend to follow some kind of it's like we can actually lie with a purpose now.
Well, absolutely. The NDAA is one of the most frightening fucking documents that anyone could ever read. And it's one of those things where if you're reading what's in the NDAA, like out loud at a coffee shop, people will tell you you're fucking crazy.
Right.
You know, what do you mean? No, where are you getting that from? The government's own website. I'm just reading what's in the fucking bill. You know, and fuck you. You did, but is there a way to communicate to people in a manner that gets them to understand just how fucked we are right now? Like, I mean, but where you are is probably right of center in a lot of aspects.
Right. See, which is sad, because where I came from, I mean, a liberal in the classic sense is somebody who cares about the welfare of other people, and that's me. Now, on the fact that I work and I'm self-sufficient, and that I believe in making logic and sense, when did that become something that both sides weren't supposed to have? Like, both sides have gotten so bad shit crazy that how did I don't even understand how I land on a spectrum anymore. I'm straight. I just moved to straight anarchy.
Right.
Because I can't. The idea of any of these idiots with trying to make laws and whatnot rule over me. The fact is the people in your immediate area, they're the ones who make all the decisions and how life goes anyways. These people on the TVs are magical. How many people even would ever meet Obama? Does he actually influence your life? It's like this big overarching craziness soap opera that people don't even really, it's all on the TV.
Soap opera is a great way to put it, man. I've been likening it to a cartoon lately.
Yes, I love that. Love it.
But this goes back to my theory that irony died when the fucking weasel got stuck in the Large Hadron Collider back in 2012. Like,
right. They don't even pretend anymore.
No.
They don't. And I think
that might have been like I said, what's his name was from the NSA, Snowden. Like, it was like, look at this. We can just straight up do this right in front of them.
Wow.
And nobody's going to give a shit.
Wow.
They are going to listen to the news, and they're just be like, oh, okay, it's for our good. Like, I at this point, like, during the Bush administration, I just know some people were sitting in back while this dude's out there making up words.
Right.
We got a conflagration. He sounded like Don Madden than a president. And them guys had to be just dying in a back room. They're like, people actually think this guy runs something. Oh. There are people standing up for him. Listen, look at him. It's like, to them, it's literally like when I watch like wrestling, like the crowds in wrestling.
Yep.
You know, that not the ones that are just there hanging out, just like watching it, but the ones that are really into it, like,
yeah.
Hulk Hogan really did have it out with Andre the Giant. They hated each other. Like, those guys, that is what I feel like when I look at the normal populace with politics, because they both go back, cash the check, they both go after people like Assange who try and spread truth. No matter what, we lose more freedoms, we get more taxes, we go to war more. That happens every single time, and no president takes back what the last president did.
Right.
Never one time.
Right.
Even from Nixon and Watergate. Nixon was prosecuted, was well known for all the nasty things he did. Nothing in his administration changed. Nothing got taken back. Nobody cared. That told you right there that everybody else was in it, and he's just one of the ones that got caught, and so they sold him down the river.
Yeah, I don't really have an argument to that. I don't think that there is one.
But now I'm gonna see this all like the wrestling now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's actually kind of an upgrade.
I mean, it totally is pro wrestling. It is. There's no. And that's what makes fucking Trump even more perfect for this goddamn cartoon is that he's in the
Vince
WWE
McMahon
Hall
all
of
day,
Fame.
baby.
Yeah.
He's even trained in the WWE for this position.
Oh,
Dude,
He trained in it.
Dude, I mean, the fact that we do have a president that's in the WWE Hall of Fame is something that I didn't really think that I was going to ever say out loud, right?
And then to watch politics literally become the WWE. I'm waiting for it to go with like it does in the Oriental countries where they're like jumping up, just full on punching and attacking each other, and it just turns into a battle royale.
Oh, I love it.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be so much more fun. Like Democrats versus the Republicans. We just do like who at last man standing in the ring, gets to make that law or whatever. There's no reality to it anyways. What laws did you vote on?
Old man war criminal cage match.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And then
At
you
least
got
it'd be
like,
more fun. We get to see one of them get punched in the face, right? Like, look at, even though he stomped on the ground and McCain didn't feel it, you at least thought he punched him.
right?
Oh, McCain needed it. Yes.
And then there's like a war crimes tribunal that's convening in the skybox seats.
Yes. They'll get like Obama. They'll get like Obama and like do like a people's elbow off of it.
Oh Jesus. I'm gonna redistribute your head from your body.
Bernie Sanders will come in out of nowhere. Yeah.
Right? And to everybody's surprise, Bernie will call in a fucking drone strike. Because you never hear that motherfucker talk about foreign policy, dude, and he is probably a fucking shade to the left of center on foreign policy, but like, I don't know.
Other than a shade, foreign policy. I'm
Obviously, I'm a self-sufficient person, so I'm not a socialist. Although, the funny thing about it is, I think socialism is a lot better system than what we're looking at now, which is not capitalism by any means. Because capitalism is free market. We don't have a free market. We have a set market by a couple companies that set the price and then don't have any kind of competition. So while I think that's a better system, I don't think it's as good as real, actual free market. So I'm a fan of Bernie Sanders, but his foreign policy is horrifying. He is straight up. You never hear him. He spoke out against Iraq,
Yeah,
he's not going to ever go against Israel. He's not going to try and change the regime that we're going right now.
No,
He's not going to change. We have an Israeli-driven foreign policy.
We do, 100%. We have 35 or 37 members of Congress that have dual citizenship with Israel. And like, nobody fucking knows this. And massive conflict of interest aside, like,
that should never exist.
yeah, I don't understand how you can be a citizen of two countries and an elected official.
Yes, making laws in this country, being a citizen
of another country, that makes zero sense.
It's fucking insane. And this kind of dovetails back around to Julian Assange, because WikiLeaks is what, registered in Iceland, right? Still, I think.
Yep. I
Okay.
believe so.
So, WikiLeaks is registered in Iceland. they publish. They don't they don't go ahead and procure the material that they publish. The material that they publish is given to them. They're a third-party entity, but because of extraterritorial jurisdiction, he is allowed to be prosecuted under the Espionage Act. And all extraterritorial jurisdiction means is that the law can go outside of its normal operating area in order to get you, in order to bring, to extradite you. But it's something that you see in regular courtrooms and in federal courtrooms, and then applied by governments and even militaries as just like a thing that we do, Yeah,
we can just break the law as we please.
It's very similar to the police just on your local level have all kinds of things written into them that like they show up to us. Oh, he was disturbing the peace. He was resisting arrest. Well, what were you arresting him for? Resisting arrest. There had to have been an original reason to be arresting him for him to have resisted. Like, why were you arrested? Like,
right.
They in the last so many years, they've just basically written themselves in carte blanche for anything.
Particularly if exigent circumstances is a great one.
Yes.
Fucking the in plain view rule. And exigent circumstances go outside of what's in plain view. Like, if someone is a known felon or is currently on probation and they walk into your house, that's an exigent circumstance for the police to come into your house. Just by the nature of somebody sitting in your living room, your house is now available for fucking search and seizure. Because we're bringing fucking civil asset forfeiture back like a motherfucker.
Oh man, I actually fell victim to that some, but I
fell victim to it with a greedy ass cop. He was stealing it for himself, so I was driving. I had sold a house in South Dakota, and at the time I had this gun was called a Reaper, and absolutely. And I moved to California. And I'm pretty sure if I would have got caught crossing the border with this gun, they would have like hung me up on the other side, put my head on a pike, and this gun was vicious. In South Dakota, legal. California, whew. So I sold my gun, and and other things, whatnot. So I had like $5,500 on me and whatnot, but I even had receipts. Was moving, and I just sold his farm. So this cop pulls me over because I had California license plates, and I had a bottle of with like 20 Oxycontins in it because 4 months previous to this, I'd flown off a motorcycle into a tree and shattered my left shoulder.
Rough.
And so I had I had a prescription with my picture on it, the whole nine. I got arrested for substance, and then he took my cash. I had an iPad, an iPhone. I had a night vision scope on the gun, which I didn't sell with the gun because that wasn't illegal. Some other odds and end electronic things, and the guy just cleaned the car out. Well, when they took me to jail, I have a service dog because I have grand mal seizures.
Okay.
So my daughter came to the jail to get my dog, and she walks in with my prescription and lays it down on the counter. And the jailer looks at her, he goes, "Hold on." And he calls the judge. He's like, "This guy has a prescription for these. I'm looking at it." And the judge is like, "Cut him loose." And so I walked right down to the state's attorney's office, and I was like, "What's going on here? Where's my money? Where's my stuff?" And the state's attorney's like, "What?" So he goes back into evidence. None of my money's there, nothing.
Wow.
So they go to this cop's house. This guy had been doing this over and over. They found hundreds of evidence bags at his house.
What kind of
You know-
fucking stupid ass, lazy ass cop just leaves that shit lying in their house?
It's a golem.
You bet. Well, that's
Arrogance, just straight arrogance, because, you know, it's the same
It was like the whole back when the mafia used to strong arm people. You know, of course, every person along the level, you know, took their cut. You can't expect somebody to be a criminal and stealing from other people and not become a thief
And
themselves.
not skim a little bit, yeah.
Right. You know, so, and this is literally what asset forfeiture is strong arming. And because 90% of that's never returned, and also 90% of it coincidentally is never prosecuted.
Yeah.
And you got your stuff back?
Oh yeah, I got it back because
That's
it
great.
turned out that this cop personally stole it. And the funny thing was, I still have a picture of it. When I got my money back, it came out of a personal bank account, handwritten check.
Oh,
like,
wow.
like handwritten, even in the upper left-hand corner. It took me 3 weeks to get the money after taking it to the bank. I thought they were going to call the cops on me because it looked so fake.
Oh, wow.
So fake. From a state agency. This was from the state's attorney's office.
Oh,
I'm like,
Jesus.
yes! And it looked fake. It looked like somebody had just made it up and wrote the state's attorney. Like some little kid thought that they could just write whatever in there, just take it in and cash it. Yeah, I took pictures of it and everything.
Man, the last time I got robbed by the police, I didn't even try to fight it. I flat out didn't. They took a car, they took 3 pounds, they took a computer, they took a phone, and it was a free car. The pounds were going to the Santa Cruz Veterans Alliance to be donated. You know, like the computer
Was old, the phone was shitty, and
And that usually is the situation. But literally, part of the reason I had to was I was in South Dakota. I lived in California.
Right.
I took the rental car.
yeah, yeah. No, I can see that.
I was stranded.
Like, I had no choice but to pick a fight here.
Yeah, no man. Hey, dude, I'm fucking good on you, dude. I'm glad it worked out for you. It's a rare circumstance where the cop fucks up so bad that the only thing that the fucking court can do is go, oh shit, here's your stuff. You know, and they're not happy about it.
Well, the entire reason I get arrested is for Oxycontins that are mine.
With
Right,
your
like,
picture
It's
on
not
it.
like I had hundreds, and the worst part is there was like half a pieces in there because I wasn't even taking the full strength or nothing. I was trying not to, and I just had the surgery 4 months before that. My arm is like just out of a sling. Like I'm a metal plate from my shoulder almost to my elbow with like 15 pins.
Okay.
I'm like, holy cow, man!
There's
I can't even put my arm behind my back.
There's a nylon ball where my ankle used to be, and then metal going up from that to about 3 inches below my kneecap.
Nice.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Lieutenant Dan.
It's better than Pirate Lake.
It was actually, it about came down to a coin toss over whether or not they were going to amputate my foot. It was that bad. I took a 18-foot plummet off of a roof and landed on the sidewalk.
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
That was right about when I met Steve.
Yeah, I had 5 different doctors at 3 different hospitals, Dominican, Valley Med in San Jose, and Stanford, tell me that I would never walk again.
I remember that.
And I did get to go into one orthopedic surgeon's
office on a cane, hobble in and be like, you know what? I'm walking. I might not be doing it perfectly, but I was invited to go rant elsewhere in that building by their security oafs. when I was telling the people that were in the waiting room, you don't have to listen to these motherfuckers. These sons of bitches are gonna fucking try and break your spirit, and they want to keep you on fucking drugs, and they don't want you fucking out there walking around trying to exercise, getting, fucking pushing your addiction away through fucking oxygen. Like,
yeah, I don't remember you ever being strung out around that either, which I was fully expecting. I was prepared for that,
Yeah, no.
and then it didn't happen.
I traded all my
Of
pills.
course, we
for-
both drank a little bit more back then.
I put my family through misery. I only took the oxys for 4 months.
And I live all natural. I eat organic. I'm a vegetarian. I live off grid. I drink river water. Like when I introduced oxy into my system,
Right.
oh, it was a shock. It was horrible. And yeah, they gave me a standing prescription for 2 years.
Oh,
Told me my
Jesus.
arm would be useless for the rest of my life. They told me I was going to lose it also. That they were like, we're probably going to amputate it. And I'm like, no. They said I'd never be useful again and maybe be able to like move it around and it'd be aesthetic. I use it all the time. I can do push-ups. I live off grid. I use my arm constantly. Not as strong as my right arm, but it's just fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No,
I would take the oxys in 4 months, and it was a hard 2 weeks after that. But then I started getting way better, way faster. That was a fact.
Well, fucking good on you for not getting sucked into that trap, man.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
We've both had people in our lives.
Go hop on board the oxy wagon and fucking get wrapped up in the fucking axle and just like get ran over and then spit out, and then they run to catch back up to the wagon so they can dive back in the fucking axle again.
It's so weird too because like
It's such
So,
a
like,
shitty
I
drug.
live off grid.
It's
I'm
such a
mountain
shitty
man. I live off grid. I'm a mountain person, so I grew up and I grew up on a farm. I'm rough and tumble, and for whatever reason, when I started taking the oxy just because in that short time I took it obviously because of my arm, but then all of a sudden, like when I'd wake up in the morning, all of a sudden my back aches and my knee aches.
Yeah,
It's
classic.
like that stuff. It really drops your pain tolerance, and all of a sudden, I think it like feeds onto itself. Like now, you have to take the oxy just to survive the day because you feel things.
Oh yeah, gotta get well.
Because
For-
you feel things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
When
shitty
I
high,
first
too.
broke my arm, 3 days after I broke my arm, I went in and just screamed at the doctor. I was pissed. And it was like unintelligible because I was like out of my mind. I didn't know my own name. I'm like, I went into the hospital, and here in my head, I'm like, I went into my hospital with a busted arm. They should have like fixed my arm. And I'm like, all they did was give me a bottle of these pills and kicked me out. I don't even know who the hell I am. I'm
Gnarly.
like, don't give me these. And not so strong. I can break my other arm and not notice.
All right, man. We gotta wrap it up here. I will say this real quick
Absolutely.
though. When I woke up in the hospital from after the roof thing, I found out that I'd been out for like a day and a half, and that there was a fentanyl epidural in me,
What?
and I flipped out. I had an
And your
external
spinal fluid?
into my spinal fluid fentanyl, and I fucking lost it, dude.
This
and-
was before fentanyl was like a cool hip street drug.
Yeah. People weren't
That it's
fucking.
not.
People weren't falling out on it and fucking trying it like it was goddamn fucking cocaine in the 90s.
Smoking it off
Like,
grandma's patches.
But yeah, dude, I flipped out on them. I'm like, what the fuck are you trying to do to me, dude? You're gonna make me leave here, goddamn junkie? Like, no, dude, no. That's our.
The story about heroin is you use it once and you're immediately hooked in a junkie for life. What do you people think they're giving you? Prescription grade heroin.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with us today.
Absolutely.
please go check out Breaking Basic. You can follow them on Twitter at breaking_basic. They have a Facebook page. You can stay connected to when their live shows air. And
Hi, Sarah. I've barely seen you the whole time, but I
Aw, I tried to squeak in there over here.
but yeah, Breaking Basic. Check the show. They do incredible work over there, man.
I'm the ugly one too. It was me and Steve. We were the ugly ones. Todd's the good looking one too. Nobody saw him here either.
It's super great to see you.
All right, and this has been Slow News Day. Until next time, fucking stay weird, everybody.
Have a good day.
Love you there, brother.
Love you guys. I hope that gets out some. That's it's just insane that people can't remember just a couple of years before the last administration when Assange was a hero when it's on your
Right.
side.
Right.
That was one thing I wanted to say is you can tell that there's no ideology
Oh,
anymore
wow.
because an ideology would include having actual moral standards of some kind.
Okay, you just completely blanked out on the screen.
Yeah, like a green screen.
And
Never
I've
seen
I
got-
said that. I
and
even
I've
looked
got,
at
like-
B, and it says B.
And I've got 8 minutes before our next guest, so I gotta sort this out.
Hey, man.
All right, buddy.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
well, we'll
Have
talk
a
soon.
great
Thank
day.
you so much.
Yep, I love you guys.
Love
too,
you
man.
too. Because it's okay to say that.